Yep. Oh. All right. Every good podcast has a boxed sound. Make sure, yeah, we are up and running. So this is actually, I'm calling it the Seamless Podcast with me, Jerm. And so it's really loose. We can just talk about whatever, and there's no script or anything, just a conversation. And so I'll just have everyone introduce themselves so we can get like a mic check and people can get used to who's talking. We're recording on the camera too, which I'll do cuts and I'll put it on my YouTube and other shit. But you want to start off?
Yes, Fred Bintz, Funkapotamus.
Oh,
Sure.
we're giving resumes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Freddie Bintz.
I'm Dave Cummins from DrKlahn.
I'm Jason DeLaTorre from DrKlahn also, but give the full name. DrKlahn and his Army of Extraordinary Magnitude.
I always said extraordinary magnitude.
Did I pronounce it?
I don't know.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary magnitude.
Yeah. One of my favorite bands, but then also to lump it all in is the Mira Mesa connection,
Yes.
because I'm actually from Mira Mesa as well. And that's what we were kind of talking about before. And I, trying to remember like in the past when you guys were playing, I knew there was that Mira Mesa connection. And just the how many bands came out of Mira Mesa and how much it changed still blows my mind. Like when I go there and I try to look at the places that I skated. And that's the shit that I like hearing stories about. So, you told me before, but as a refresher, how did you guys all meet again, or?
I think we all met at Erickson. Well, Jason and I were in the same Boy Scout troop. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but also in
Erickson in
Yeah.
elementary.
Erickson
Freddie,
Elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
But
we had kindergarten.
Yeah. Mrs.
But I
Lynn.
got held back because I didn't speak any English.
Yeah.
I only spoke Hungarian.
So
And then, yeah.
this
So
memory of Fred just
yeah.
smiling and not saying a word.
Yeah.
I just knew him as that kid.
So are you already a 50-year-old then?
I'm 50, yeah. And then we had
Yeah.
second grade, I think, right? We were together. We had a second grade.
Third
class.
grade was my
Third
first
grade?
year
Okay.
at Erickson.
Okay,
'cause
so
I
probably-
moved from Corona.
So who'd you have for third grade?
Mrs. Gould.
And then who'd you have for
Mr.
fourth?
Timms.
We were fourth grade.
Oh, and
Mr.
Mr.
Timms.
Timms,
Yeah. So that's how we knew each other that long. But I don't think I knew Dave until
Well, I feel like we had kindergarten together, but then we didn't like really hang out until high school, probably.
yeah.
Because once Funkapotamus started and we started hanging out, kind of
Yeah.
got to know each other then.
And I think we started hanging out in junior high,
Yeah.
probably because of video. Even though I wasn't in your video class.
Right.
But we both had Mr. Ogden. There was some kind of overlap there. I think Sean Ellertson is the big merger.
It's a connective tissue there. But.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't remember any names. Like I'm trying to think of, the first thing I'm trying to think of is what was there to skate at Erickson, and then trying to think of my teachers' names, and like I can't. I remember you guys went to Mira Mesa High, right?
Yeah.
Jim Velasquez was,
Yeah.
Yep.
and he's got a Facebook. I was friends with him on Facebook, and then I felt bad, and I'm like, fuck, if he looks me up for whatever reason, oh man, I know he wouldn't remember me, but
I remember him to be a pretty stand-up guy as a principal.
Yeah, he's not like
my memory of him was positive.
yeah.
Because I got into a lot of trouble,
Yeah.
and he would routinely have my back. Like he wouldn't, rain down punishment on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not like the Breakfast Club like principal.
I know.
He was like
really cool. Do you remember that T-shirt? Keep off the grass. So his big thing was his mission was to keep everybody off the grass. So they made a T-shirt of him and his face. Keep off the grass, and somebody, I don't know, I think somebody found it at like a thrift store.
No
And
way.
like I saw that shirt in fucking Ohio. And I go, are you from did you go to Mira Mesa High or something? And he's like, no, I just found this at a thrift store. So it was like just kind of like recycled. It was like Jim Vlasis' fucking like face and like
That's
the
so
slogan,
rad.
keep off the grass.
That's where we had our the high school yearbook picture was on the grass. The was in the middle. God, even my memories of the school now, it's so vague. But no, I always thought he was cool. All my teachers were it was pretty cool. Plus back then, I took every art class. I even took I think I did one semester of drafting because I was running out of art classes because I wasn't good at much anything. I failed algebra 2 years in a row. Oh my God, it was just, school was horrible. But then the memories I do remember is Noggles.
Yeah.
And there would be the stoners hanging out by the one lockers. I remember there's 2 other punkers when I was in high school. And that's when I met Shadowcat. He came in when I was in the I think it was 8th grade or 9th grade that he showed up. And he had wearing a trench coat, full goth, big black mohawk, and he had his ear pierced. And for whatever reason, you know, I'm a scrappy, freaking redheaded punk rocker. And so we became friends because, you know, we're both misfits. He's the one that I started piercing my ear, and then I had 3 in my ear because he had 2 and I had to one up him. And my mom and my sisters never even had their ears pierced yet. So that was one fond memory that I do remember of Mira Mesa and growing up there.
What year did you graduate?
86.
Alright, so sizable, not crazy sizable gap, but you graduated in 93,
yeah.
and then 94.
94. Yeah, that Noggles turned into that taco shop.
Yeah.
Was it Roberto's?
I actually don't know what Noggles is.
You remember
You
Noggles?
don't remember
No.
Noggles? Yeah.
It was kind of like Del Taco, but it was next to, I think it became the Del Taco.
It did become
and
Del
then the
Taco.
Del Taco became the taco shop.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, like burgers and tacos and stuff.
Yeah, it was the most American Mexican food. But I mean, it was great. Like, I still have a few friends from high school. But then, you know, getting back to Ken from the neighbors, he lived just up the street from me. So I grew up with him, and
That's off of like Circo. Is it around Circo Street?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was on Santa Armenta. And then Jeff Winfrey was up the street a little bit. Gary Willis, which is my sister's husband, was up a little bit more, and his sisters, Margie and Christina. I remember a few of the cats, but by the time going into high school, that's when I never seen Kenny, because I was, a couple grades older than him. And then, God, I don't even think I've seen Jeff, but we all used to skate. Jeff had a half pipe in his backyard. I went to Sandburg Elementary. So that was and I still, if I'm there, I'll drive by and look out of the front, the big green box that I used to do bonuses off of, and oh man, the place was so rad for skating. You guys all skated, didn't you?
Yeah.
I tried. I tried and failed. 'Cause
Yeah, I could say I tried.
Like Mira Mesa
Yeah.
had like Willie Santos
Yeah.
like skating
Oh, yeah.
at Leif Erikson, and I looked at everybody. It's like I can't do this. I just can't. I try. I skated for 2 years. I think I did a kickflip like once, and then I just said no. I can't do this.
No.
I think that's an accomplishment.
Yeah,
Kickflip's good.
I landed a
Yeah.
kickflip
Yeah.
once in 2 years of trying.
I still can't do one. I never learned them. I learned the old one.
Yeah.
But yeah, my wife can do. She could probably do one within 5 tries right now. But I might be a little generous. It might be 10. But yeah, I never learned how to do one at all. But all my memories of Mira Mesa is skating, especially around the mall. I love those red curves around the mall.
By the bowling alley and.
Yeah. And then we were talking about the music store there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Music Central.
Yeah.
Was that?
Music Central was.
Yeah.
Was that always the name?
It was
or-
Mira Mesa Music,
And then it
and
changed.
then it changed to
Music
Music
Central.
Central. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Todd.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I worked there for like a half a minute.
The Pizza Hut there.
Yeah.
I worked there when I was 17. Yeah, I might have been 18 by the time I left. But back then I was all fucked up. So I started downward spiral. But I painted the all the Christmas stuff out in the windows in the mall. I miss those memories of going in with the carolers in the middle. I don't know if they still did those.
They had like that big train set in the middle. Do you remember that? They would.
No, I think that was before.
Before.
That Pizza Hut was amazing. That was the best pizza in town. And I just remember going there, and I remember the jukebox just being incredibly loud. Like, they were partying at that Pizza Hut.
Yeah. They still have that tabletop Tetris game.
I don't think it's there anymore. They moved that Pizza Hut to the other section of the parking lot, like over sort of by where, across from where Mervin's would be. Is that where
Which
that
is
Pizza
like
Hut
a-
is?
Oh,
dress
wow.
barn? Dress barn? Is that a chain of clothing that is there now?
Oh yeah. Well, before Mervin's, I think wasn't it like Walker Scott?
Yeah.
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 And Newberry's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
They
a
had-
deeper memory of Mayor Mason than
They,
clearly.
they had a Cracker Barrel too.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the middle
Yeah.
of the mall.
In the middle
Yeah.
of the mall.
Oh, what's his nuts from the neighbors worked?
Oh, Frank Andrews, yeah.
Frank Andrews.
Well, he had his dad had like the hot dog.
Hot Dog Express.
Store there.
Oh wow.
What's
Yeah.
his nuts?
What's his?
Sorry.
I know we're doing really good with remembering first and last names earlier, but
My memory is so shot with names. I mean, it's gotten worse and worse over kind of like the last few years. I can't. There's like this mental block. I start getting anxiety about it, and then it'll come up later. Like I'll remember it. But a lot of things now is I'm just so focused in on a few things that I just start stuttering trying to remember a name. Like his name, Humpoogie. But faces I'm getting a lot better at. I can notice someone from afar, and then I start going through the Rolodex trying to remember who they are, and then I get to the point of, do I really want to go and say hey? Because what if I'm wrong? But, at this point, it is what it is. I just chalk it up to old age. Speaking of, how's the book coming along?
It's coming along.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I don't know. Did I tell you about this?
Mhm.
So I got it back from the editor like 2 days, like over the weekend actually. So
Okay,
I just
cool.
been reading through all the edits and all the like the suggestions and my terrible grammar. So, but yeah, and I'm excited. Yeah. She had some good ideas. So I had the magazine that I had an essay with, the one that you read. It's called Bitch Life. The editor for there, she said that she would edit it for me, so I hired her to edit it. So she had it for a few weeks, and I just got it back. So
Cool.
yeah. So it's coming.
how long is this?
It's like 30,000 words, which is like, I don't know. It's probably gonna be like 150 pages, which is pretty short for a book, but it's only like a snippet of like high school to like the end of DrKlahn, I guess. So it's like a 5-year or 6-year period there. Maybe, I guess more, but yeah.
Well, it's one
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
memoirs. That's because V was just asking, my wife was just asking me about it.
Oh yeah.
And then we're going through all the people that we know of that have written books.
Yeah.
And just the process of that, which I still find fascinating, because I think I told you I wanted to do the one, I was doing interviews with skateboard makers, DIY skateboard makers. So I had like these 10 questions, and it was just called 10 questions with DIY skateboard makers. But I wanted to take all those interviews because each one's story was different and different age ranges. And I think I had someone overseas. I might have had a couple people. Yeah, I did definitely have someone overseas that I did an interview with. And hearing how different cultures outside of California were, how they got influenced and how they got into the idea of actually making their own. Because I always thought it was, you had the wood shops do it, or furniture shops. A guy like me can't make them. And I had my skateboard press in the back because I used to press them. And just that whole world is just so fascinating to me. So I wanted to do a book. And then I started looking into it. I'm like, this, I can't do it. I got to stay in my lane. Stick with the 12 things that I'm already doing right now. But yeah, I like watching you go through it.
Yeah.
And I can live vicariously.
Well, it's been fun, and like we were talking, we were down the street at the DrKlahn, and I was like, oh, I gotta like all like the stuff about like changing sounds with when LD and Joe, like I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about like that part of it. Like, no, I gotta go back and like add stuff in.
Since he brought up just doing this, it brought up so many memories, and because Dave said that you spoke very highly of our band, and I was like, well, we were two different bands, and I remember there was a period of time where we convinced the bass player and the drummer to quit the band because we wanted to play a more pop punk style because we were so into like Screeching Weasel, the Queers, not like crazy off where we were at, but
Right.
still a little bit more up tempo. And I was so excited to get your opinion after our first show with the new rhythm section, and you were so blunt. You're just like, I liked the old version. You guys had this cool like New York Dolls vibe, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I've never listened to that band before. It was a cool thing to remember, and I liked your honesty in that moment a great deal. It was pretty
Oh, thank God.
Well, I convinced you to tape the breakup.
cool.
Remember that?
Yes.
Like a hidden tape recorder to tape the
Oh my
breakup.
gosh.
So what happened with that lineup? Did you continue it?
We did. We continued,
Okay.
and we were. It really, I think Screeching Weasel was the band that probably like set us off. Where it's like, oh, I like doing these like single string guitar melodies, and it's pretty poppy, but still like pretty like ragged at the same time.
Yeah,
and so
it's still kind of dirty.
yeah, it was attractive, and so I think that's what we were leaning into. And then we did that for a while, and then the drummer quit, and then my little brother played drums with us for a while, and then I got really full of myself and wanted to start my own band, and then that's I think how that
Just went on.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it had been several years. Like, I mean, we from like high school, like early high school.
I think
feel
it
like,
went on
yeah.
to like I guess probably 2001, 2002. Does that sound right?
Probably right around there, because I think I got married in 2000, and it was right around there when we just got to stop. And I was trying to remember like our last show. I couldn't remember our last show. I just remember recording in the warehouse in Poway, and then that was it.
I had decided that I was an artist, and I recall many occasions, Fred specifically, giving me a hard time about being an artist. But then I did play in Funkapotamus for a very
You
brief
did,
time,
and I think that
which was a lot of fun.
I swear, like I think that few months we came up with some really amazing stuff. I wish that we recorded it, but unfortunately John couldn't keep a beat.
Yeah, we
And
tried.
we tried. Yeah.
They were all like the goofiest riffs that my art band didn't want, and so I was like, all right, well, I'll see what Fred has to say about this riff. And so
Yeah. That's funny.
Those were the Funkapotamus riffs.
yeah, because
Yeah,
they were
great.
yeah.
I thought they were amazing.
Well, we had a mutual understanding
Yeah,
of like what
always.
we appreciated.
I think that we probably should have tried harder.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
But it's like there's no like I was like thinking about this like the other day. I was like, there was no like blueprint to tell you how to do stuff or how to like keep things together or how to function as a band. And I look back on like certain things. I was like, well, maybe I should have been more of a ruthless like taskmaster or something. Like when it came to like oh, fuck him, I'll fire him, get somebody else.
Yeah, get a better drummer.
Just get somebody
Get a better
better.
drummer.
Or like,
Sorry,
you know,
John.
Yeah, or get, you know, it doesn't matter. Just like, I know we're buddies, but no, you're done. So,
But that's
you know,
one of the
like-
things, though, is when you get into that, it becomes a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's, well, I think part of my whole thing has always been a fear of success. But when I was at the club, I was so driven about everyone else. And that's why, you know, when you bring up my honesty, that's the same thing with, like, I don't remember who it was, but I always refer back to, you know, the big guys. And I do remember specifically talking with Jonathan from Korn before, and I just tell him, you know, I don't like your music, you know, but you guys are cool or whatever. You know, I've had to say that before, and it might have been quoted somewhere where I've said, look, I'm not here to judge bands by what I like, because if I did, it would be, you know, realistic. I probably did bring you guys up, you know, because I was a huge fan of Swindle. And then I hung out with Mike and the guys in Spin Idols. I liked, you know, the English stuff, or New York 75 sort of 77 stuff, like you guys. But I just booked everybody because everybody deserved a chance. So it wasn't going to be on just the stuff. And if you sounded like Venom, oh yeah, I'm booking you. I'm going to have you play at my house. I will have a tape to wake up to. So I just booked everybody and anyone I could because everyone deserved a chance. And then the bands that were fun to work with, then that was, you know, it just made it that much easier because I had to put up with so much crap there. And that's why at this point, it's part of my legacy, but it's not my whole life. I've done so much other than when I was at Soma, like playing with him while I'm trying to do a podcast. But why don't you go upstairs with the mom? Oh my. But yeah, I just always, there was so much of a fondness, and it might have been because of the Mira Mesa connection, but I just remember distinctly, and then looking at some of my old books, and then looking at Funkapotamus stuff, and then DrKlahn, and just so many memories come back, and that's the shit that I do like to remember now. But like when it becomes a job, any band, to me, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And having to make, you know, executive decisions on, or even if someone's fucking up for whatever reason, just saying, hey, look, you're fucking up, you know, don't drink, or maybe not smoke so much fucking pot right now, we're trying to play one song sort of thing. And because I had that, I think we were called the Graveyard Dogs at that point. That's when things, alcohol started to, and other issues with band members. And then it's not fun anymore. And then you start regretting it, and
Well, that's like like when Chris and Pat, like when we weren't getting along with them, it was not fun. And then later, like LD was not happy with us, and it was like less, like going to practice was like, oh, this is gonna be like not fun.
Right. For sure. At that point, I think we were still practicing in the 501 exchange, and so we were loading our gear in and out of practice every time, and so it's like physical work to go do something that you're supposed to love, and you're not loving it anymore. And I don't know, I look back on it as if we were just stupid kids, and we were like having a change in not music taste specifically, but yeah, it was I don't know, I look back on that, I feel a lot of guilt because they were, you know, our closest friends. Chris, the drummer, his parents let us practice in their garage for years. It was, I mean, Funkapotamus even had the occasional garage performance there. I think we tried like tracking demos there, and they were usually pretty patient with us. And so it was like a strange departure because you want to remain friends with somebody.
There was a lot of guilt for me, like because we were so close as friends. We had grown up like and then we just
to change
Yeah.
the style of your band.
yeah, and then that affected the friendship. Like it
This
was
is
like
nothing like a musical divorce. So you are fucking bitter.
Yeah.
It's like really, it's a musical divorce. It's like a divorce.
It's like a high school
just,
breakup.
yeah, it's awful.
It's like a political divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You voted for who?
yeah.
Oh, I'm out, and the fucking dog is staying with you. Both of you can go vote for, yeah. That, when I was doing tour, that's when I started to realize, well, they had Damnation. So with me singing with them, and then with my just God knows what style, and never singing the same thing ever. I mean, sometimes I didn't even remember, and I just kind of make up shit. But it was always about the show. So with them, and I would have them playing for, I think they played with Creator. They were called Damnation. I think they played with Creator and like Cannibal Corpse. And I kind of liked a lot of that stuff, but it wasn't my thing to listen to. So with them, I always felt like I was in my own little bubble. Like, I'm the token punk rocker, and it just happened to be this really fucking nutty one. But I kind of always felt like that in every band that I've ever been in. But back then, to be in a band, I always felt like to not ruffle anyone's feathers, just kind of be like a yes man, and so I would end up just kind of leading the charge. And then, my shoulders are big enough to hold that big head of mine. But yeah, anything new, like bringing up a new song, someone brings in something, it's like, well, I don't know, I gotta put my handprint all over this to make sure it sounds like us. So, and now in hindsight, with the bands, working with Jeff and Sam, we're so collective and we're very observant of where we're going, what direction. We talk a lot of things out, and it's really fun because it's open and we have a lot of styles that we're doing, but nothing's like set. And it's like the freedom of being our age and being punk rockers still. It's finally, the dividends starting to pay off. That stress isn't there, which is the only reason why I could probably still do it. But versus the other, when I'm doing Cemeterial, I just can't. I'm waiting on a couple of people who I won't mention, especially if they hear this. I don't want to
Call someone out.
yeah, but it would be fun to work with them. But at this point, I'm having so much fun just writing other music. I just got to figure out my own home studio, and then I'll just start doing it that way. Even if I'm a one-man band and I have it pre-recorded, it's not like I'm going on tour or anything. So,
Does it seem like less? Like I feel like I don't know, but Jay and Fred, but like I was so serious. Like I really was like it was all I wanted to do. So
yeah.
I think the anxiety, especially with other people not getting along, was a lot because I didn't want that to end. Like I wanted to just keep playing shows and keep doing it the whole time. But I was surprised how well organized we were. Like you were saying, like you feel like you didn't push enough, like for like being like 17-year-old kids. I feel like we had practice schedules and like we collected rent in the studio and like
I do miss that
yeah.
that like intensity or like desire to create. I find myself with spare time, not often these days, but like I still want to create music,
Yeah.
but I don't have like that same fire that I once had. So it's really cool to hear you still do.
Yeah,
Just
well, it's
push
been a
it.
long time coming though, because I had to get in the right headspace, because do you have kids? And
No, 2 dogs.
oh, okay, you got your hands full still. Obviously with, and he's supposed to be upstairs with the wife, but yeah, that's, and then, do you own your own business, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I have a business in Los Angeles that takes a majority of my time, but we live in like a little backlot house, and we turned one of the bedrooms into my office, and I have my piano and my guitars in there, and so I play music on occasion. It's just
Yeah.
like a weird spark has to happen when I get home. And my wife is very encouraging. Like, just like leave the door open. You don't have to
Yeah.
close it. Like go to town.
That's how V is. It's refreshing, but still, I mean, you got to get to a place where you can focus. Because I'm obsessed on it, but I also do landscaping now. Basically, I'm doing the landscaping. Yeah, just landscaping and music. It's nutshell. I'm not doing my, not really painting that much or doing any jewelry making, not much art. So I actually have time to fiddle with my train, and I was running it earlier today, because that's usually one of those, I would have to find a slot in my day, like, okay, I'm gonna go turn the train on, and I'm gonna get it running on the track, and I'll switch out some cars, I'll move some Hot Wheels around, but I would have to set it up, and then if anything else, a video came on that I wanted to watch, then I'm distracted. Or I get hungry, and then I'm outside fiddling with my pond, or, yeah. I mean, a butterfly goes by, oh, and then I don't play with my train. But now the landscaping business, it's just me, and it's, things are kind of drying out, so the schedule kind of runs itself, and I'm constantly thinking about music. I'm always writing a riff in my head. I'll actually play some music while pushing a mower or something, and then so then I have to turn it off and put on a podcast so that I have just white noise, because I'll just sit there and I'll work the riff and I'll work the fingering, and then I'll fight with myself, well, if you're gonna be playing this on guitar, but all that process of being really young, it's back. And I mean, it's strong, and I'm almost 58, so, it just freaking hit me like, anything else that, falling in love, that's basically what it is. I've fallen in love again with music. And my wife supports me, so that helps a lot. What, boo? But he's obviously a handful. What about you, Fred? You still?
I live in Rhode Island now. I don't know anybody. I like a couple of guitars in the basement. I try to come up with stuff. I sent you a big list of songs that I thought of.
Titles.
All song titles. I came up with some riffs, but
Yeah, you could verbalize the riffs. And
no, I can play a little bit, but my hands are so bad. Carpal tunnel from 20 plus years of bartending. Now I'm custodian over at Brown University, and my hands are shot, and I'm just exhausted. But if I could just find like a focus, and I don't really know anybody. That's the thing. It's like you want to come up with ideas for music, but you don't have any. I don't have any ideas to bounce off of. That's why I love being in a band so much, especially with people, like-minded people at the same time. That creating a song was like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Being at practice. I loved practice. I loved parties, to play parties and shows, but practice to me, when the guys came together and came up with a song like in 10 minutes, and you're just like, this is the greatest song that's ever been written.
Remember you and Sean bursting in with From Your Love, and you're like, we're gonna write this song, and then you just like powered out.
Yeah, it was like,
From Your Love.
10 minutes, boom, like that. But also having somebody like a like-minded, somebody with like a sense of humor as well, that gets you. Like
Right.
Sean got me, you got me, and then also to have an extremely talented person like Ishmael playing bass, that could who was just fucking amazing.
A machine.
Outgrew us like in like a year, but was like nice enough to stick around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just, I loved. Those were like the best days when we all had our studio at Soundtracks. It was us, DrKlahn, Funkapotamus, Time,
I don't think
Underbite.
Time ever
Yeah.
shared with us.
I think the neighbors. I think the neighbors shared it with us for a while, and then they got a studio down the hall.
Huh.
I think.
I mostly just remember the two of us, but that would make sense to cover the cost.
I think it was two of us most of the time. But then
Most of the time, it
bands
was
would
the
come
two
in
of
and
us.
like share for like a hot
Yeah.
minute, and then
But
Where was
studio
Soundtracks
great.
at?
It was on
Miramar.
Miramar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was doing, just recently, I was in Black Widow Prophecy and Morning Star, and the drummer for Black Widow was also in Morning Star, did guitar and drums, because Morning Star, all we did was record and do videos. But there was a studio, I don't remember what it is, but it was up there on Miramar Road. I remember another one, I think it was Miramar Road, that Bucko 9 used to practice at.
By the strip club.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, further, closer to the base.
Yeah.
It was a 2-story studio because I ended up renting a room there eventually. I
Okay.
can't remember the name of the place, but it was the far more popular rehearsal space than the place that we were at. Because I think the place we were at maybe had like 10 rooms total.
Yeah, it was.
It was like a
big.
U
Not
shape.
lot. We had the biggest one. Didn't we?
Yeah, I think so.
That place was huge.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, we had like 2 couches.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Refrigerator? Do we put a refrigerator in
We
there?
had a refrigerator.
There's a lot of porno.
A lot. Lots of porn, and didn't they have like a porn production company
Yeah,
that
like
reproduced like tapes.
Justin and Jim from Underbite found a bunch of these magazines and tapes in a dumpster, and they decorated the walls with it.
It's fantastic.
So that was one of those monthly room rentals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we were there for probably a couple of years.
Yeah,
We did there for a while, yeah.
Yeah, because back in the day, there was a lot more studios, like all over the place, and we used to practice. It's still there. It's behind the new Soma, not Mark Langford's place, but I can't remember I was thinking it was called Soundtracks as well.
Is it right by Society, the brewery?
I don't know.
Or like right
exactly.
behind it?
There's Modern Times was right there. There's there's Soma, and then whatever that back street is, Dixie Line that goes in back of Dixie Line and all that. It's right there. I wish I could remember the address, but the place had so many problems. I think that's the one where my old bandmates had a bunch of shit ripped off. Like some guys came in and just was going through all the different studios and pulling equipment out. But that's where Cockroach used to play there. And we would just rent, for 2 hours, we would rent a room.
I think that's how we started the soundtracks. We used to rent by the hour. There was one down by the sports arena. Do you remember that? Driving all the way down there. And like
Is it, that might
setting up
be,
and
that's,
like playing
that's
like an
got
hour
it.
and packing it all up. And
Yeah, that's how we were. But luckily I was a singer, so I didn't.
I got my mic.
But then there was also another place, Nestor Studios, and then there was another one out in Santee, I can't remember. But yeah, I was always used to like the hourly, just rent a room. And then I used to play in the garage down here, which is actually connected to all the properties next to me. Luckily the same LLC guy owns all this stuff. But we used to play down there, so we were known as the band on India Street. And we had this one time, sheriffs came looking because this place used to be split into 2 houses. That's why it has 2 addresses. So I had a guy that I was writing comedy with. His name was Justin. He lived next door. The funniest, most flamboyant gay guy. Just picked the atypical, oh my God, spastic, but make him like a little turtle boy, like Todd Gloria with his big turtle shell suit on. He was the funniest fucking guy, and he was so gay that it was hilarious. He and I would both he would be normal, and then I would mimic him. I would be rolling so much, he would be rolling. People would just look at us like we were freaks. The guy was a trust fund baby, and he had a warrant, I believe, for DUI. So the sheriffs came there. They were cool enough, they let us finish the song. Then they started cop knocking on the door, and we opened it up, and I'm like, fuck, here we go again. because I've been busted when I used to live at the house up there. And they said something about the band and all that. And then they're looking at my drummer, Joel, and he's like, "Are you Justin?" He's like, "No, I'm Joel." And he's like, "Are you Justin?" And then finally I figured out who he was looking for. And I'm like, "Oh, no. He moved already." And then I told Joel, I go, "It's Justin, the short, you brought up Hungarian. He's, oh God, I can't remember what it is. Like a Mediterranean type accent. His really demanding mom. This dude, oh God, I miss him. But so I told Joel who it was and kind of described, and he's like, "Oh, yeah. Wait, so he thought I was gay?" And out of the whole thing, that was it. Like, no, he just thought you were. What? No, Joel, you don't look. You're fine. Just everything about the whole situation. Because I used to live at the house at the corner, and there's a studio below that in the basement. And cops went there twice when I was living there. I only lived there for about a year, and they went there twice to tell me to cut it, or else they're gonna confiscate everything. So down here, I thought that's what it was, but they're trying to find Justin. God, I miss that dude. He was the funniest fucking dude. The funniest guy. Oh my Lord. So that's my story about playing in the garage. And it was in the summer. I do remember one summer. It was one of the really hot ones about 15 years ago or so. It was well over 100 in there, and we were just freaking cooking. So we would open up the door just a little bit to get some air, and then that's how we started attracting more and more vagrants. And then the neighbors who actually lived there, and I was paying them to sublet it, and they would come down a little drunk, and it didn't bode well a couple times, fights, and yeah, you know, and I was in my 40s then, so some things never change.
I was gonna ask if children are more resilient to the heat, and then you stated that you were in your 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in the garage. It was hot.
But
Really cool.
I don't recall it ever being like that big of a deal, because you're doing
Yeah.
what it is that you want to be doing.
Just
I'm
take
sure
your
like
shirt off.
we would walk outside, smoke break. That's also a crazy thing, that not you, but that we used to smoke tobacco cigarettes.
Oh God, we smoked. It was, I think it was like up to like a pack and a half a day.
Yeah, it's so
It was
bizarre.
wild.
Were you ever? I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think that's
but off
how we
and
would
on.
talk outside of shows. We would just hang, smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
You give me your opinion. And,
What are you monitoring? Yeah, for a while there, I remember I was rolling drum cigarettes.
yes, I recall that. Were you playing in Cockroach in those days?
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to remember like what the bands were in that time.
Yeah. So back then, Poor played at Union and then at Metro, and then Meat was at Metro, Cockroach was at Metro, and then after I left, I was doing Sinson 77, and during that time, we're trying to do a band called Lot. That was near the end when I ended up leaving the club. I just never really, we were writing stuff, and we were actually practicing there on the side stage, since I had the key and everything. And it just never came together. And then, after that, I ended up doing this urinary, which turned into urine. And then Sinson 77 came after that. Oh yeah, so that's right. Meat. Oh God, we had done, that's too many bands. Meat turned into Enclosure of Blood, and then it turned into This Urinary, and then Urine, and that was fun because we had two bass players, myself was more dirty, and then let's see, Keith was doing bass and he was cleaner, and then in urine, Scott was doing the cleaner bass, and really droney, almost kind of flipper, but then some songs would pick up and they would get going. But yeah, back then I was still smoking a lot too, and drinking a ton. I switched from Bud Light to Coors Light at some point.
That was the big switch.
But then, Guinness, cider, Jägermeister, yeah. And that was another downfall for me, was just all the drinking.
Yeah, I own a brewery, and that makes it kind of difficult to hone down the less drinking.
What's the name of your brewery?
It's called Ogo Pogo. It's a goofy little brewery in San Diego.
Really?
Yeah.
That's bad, I didn't know. Now I'm like, damn, I quit drinking.
We were just.
I heard. I was gonna bring some, but I decided to not for that reason.
Yeah, no, I actually have a bottle of really nice tequila my mother-in-law got me for my birthday, my last birthday, and I stare at that thing all the time, but I don't really have the taste for it right now. I just the other day I'd gotten some NA Guinness, because I still love Guinness,
Same.
and they're all right, but I was like quickly craving lemonade, and because I drink a lot of lemonade and green tea, so I just don't have it anymore. But the main thing is I had to give my body a rest. I was kind of falling apart and working 6 days a week, and then for a while there I was doing 4 bands, and just burning the candle at both ends, and I don't really sleep that much, and I was always stressed, so I was drinking a lot, and a lot by myself. So, yeah, but let's get back to the brewing. What beers are you brewing?
It's across the board, but we did recently make our attempt at making Guinness, and we dose the cans with liquid nitrogen, so you shake it up, pour it,
Yeah.
get that same like creamy head experience. Next year we're gonna try it again, and we're gonna get widget cans, because you can't get the widget ball that they use in the Guinness cans, but
Yeah.
there's another manufacturer that makes it as like a little puck at the bottom of the can,
Oh, okay.
and just better distribution when you open the can. Like you can actually drink a Guinness out of the can. You don't have to pour it in a glass. The beer that we just made, you have to pour it. I mean, you don't have to. You can still consume it, but it's more fun if you pour it into a glass.
Well, it's proper. Realistically, a Guinness should be a very slow pour, so you sit there like this, and you stare at it, and you start thinking of things in life, like butterflies and bunnies, and then the next thing you know, your Guinness is done, and you sit there and you just watch the little floaties come down. Oh my God. So dreamy.
I should have brought some. Just get you off the wagon.
Well, and realistically, I was just talking to the wife about, because we're trying to do a movie night, and we started watching that Netflix Lord of the Rings. Have you guys seen that yet?
Yeah,
Have you read the book or?
I've not read
Wait,
the book, but
Lord
I
of the
watched.
Rings or Lord of
Yeah.
the Flies?
No, Lord of the Flies. Yeah.
Oh
you're
no,
right.
I watched the Lord of the Rings,
Oh, okay.
the show.
The Amazon show?
Yeah.
I just finished the Netflix Lord of the Flies. It was good. I want to reread the book. I've read it probably like 4 times.
I'm getting chills right now because of it.
It was really well done. There's definitely some changes from the
Yeah.
book. That's why I want to reread it, just to like, okay, what did they choose to change a little bit? But it was nice that they were all British, unlike the original movie. I think they were American kids, which
Yeah.
was less fun for some reason. But I mean,
Because this one, just the violence still hits me as hard, but the accent kind of makes it a little bit more palatable. Because I'll be honest, that I just realized when we were watching the series today, that has disturbed me and made me the punk rocker that I am just the violence and everything. That story, I remember reading the book when I was really, really little, and it's all starting to come back now. Man, that story is crazy. It gets under my skin. Just the violence. And
we all worked at a business together for years, the three of us, with a lot of our childhood friends, making body piercing jewelry, which is not exactly the most entertaining job. And we all started listening to audiobooks, and we had Lord of the Flies, like someone owned it, and so it made its way around. I think that we all listened to it at least. Well, probably not you because you were on the phone all the time, but I know that I've read it physically twice, and I think I've listened to the audiobook a few times. It's just crazy as you get older how much you forget.
oh yeah,
And
yeah,
but watching it was just like, I knew what I was getting myself into watching. I was like, fuck, this is going to be rough. And you just forget these little moments. I think they did a really good job, like recreating the book. They might have altered some of the order or like the way they told it by doing it by like the four characters' perspectives, which I thought was pretty fun.
yeah.
But still very upsetting.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is we were talking about for movie night. We should go and watch the movie, and I think V said she had read it in like 4th or 5th grade. She's academically way out of my league. I mean, seriously, just the crazy. She's like jump grades and all this, and she's very, very intelligent, very well read. So to watch the movie would probably bring back even more of the memories that I had from a kid, so I could ease into reading it. Because with the memories I have now of reading it as a kid, I had such a vivid imagination. Mind you, when I was really, really young, all that was on my mind, like when I read that, was skateboarding, ghosts, trying to understand why I could see and hear things, and being born on Halloween and being a redhead, I always knew as a freak. But reading that and the narrative that I had and thinking of like the pig's head, and I'm getting chills right now thinking about it. My imagination had blown that thing up to like basically almost a narrative of what society has become in my eyes. So watching the movie, and then I can ease into reading the book again. Of course, it'll be another bathroom book. I'll either read Dave Dictor's book or read Lord of the Flies, or Brad Warner. I read he's the Buddhist, the punk rock Buddhist. He wrote Hardcore Zen and a few other ones. I like reading that just to try to calm my mind down. Because that's another thing with music, is I'm trying not to do anything too political. Even with the goth band that I'm in Cemeterio that I'm writing, I'm trying to like write poetry, and then because it's gonna be like a post-punk type thing, it's not gonna fit the normal formula. I can just kind of drag on the lyrics and make it as eerie as possible. Hopefully, I think I have the right ideas, and I've got a freaking bunch of music. Realistically, if I went into the studio, I could probably have enough for an album, and then direct people to play the parts. But I don't know, right now I'm just having fun thinking of it all. But yeah, that freaking book movie, yeah, it's creepy.
We were just talking while we were at the Aero Club. Our first song, Dave wrote the lyrics from the book Brave New World, which I still haven't read. But it was a cool thing, and you just brought this up because you said that me and Pat were such big Iron Maiden fans that you thought that's the way that we would be into it if you came in with some like story from a book. Which I don't know why I didn't put that together as a child, but I just thought it was really cool. I'm like, oh, what a cool angle, because for me, most of my songwriting has been a lot of like, woe is me, very like, what is going on personally in my life kind of lyrics. I always thought that was a really fun approach, and did not associate it with Iron Maiden until an hour
like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Fred's lyrics, on the other hand, were very topical, maybe a little woe is me,
Yeah, probably more.
but not
like,
in the traditional sense.
no, just yeah. What? She's peeing. She only thinks about me when she's taking a pee. And well, like you said before, I didn't write any lyrics down until we were recording. Everything, like for the show, for practice, for whatever, it's just the rhythmic style, and I would make it all up. And most of the lyrics came from that party we played.
At the Chris Michaels house?
I don't
Like
remember.
the disco party?
No, it was before, but there was a really good recording, and I made all the lyrics up, and those were the lyrics that were used for most
At
of the
Mike
songs.
Feeney's house?
No.
Which would be I think
But
that's
that
the
was-
sound.
It
Yeah.
was
Well, we played there
I
a few
think it
times.
was our first party we played together. I
This
don't
is
remember
before
whose
you-
house it was.
Before you played the club?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Which
played a lot of parties.
Which
Oh.
to say was pretty crazy
Yeah.
that the first time we played the club, how many people attended that show was nuts. Because I didn't think that we were popular kids in school by any means.
Yeah, I remember
No.
thinking like, I don't know this many kids. Like,
Yeah,
like,
but-
Well, we played so many parties that it
Yeah.
just turned into like it was the party circuit, and I remember we would get the phone calls like the day of or the night of, and then we'd go to the studio, pack up, and play a party.
Yeah.
Usually, that's how remember it was like
Yeah,
launch
you
parties
it's
were the
just-
shit.
yeah.
You just get a call and you'd be like, "Can you play party tonight?" And
Yeah.
We get an address and we just,
And some of them were like super scary.
yeah.
Scary parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Or
like-
you wouldn't know until you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Bunch of
about
skinheads?
Yeah.
Like, they're like,
Remind
what is
me
going
to
on?
tell you the story about Justin Pearson and when I booked Struggle, which we'll get back to that one because it's
Well,
along those lines.
we played a party once, and the fucking Nazis showed up, right?
Yeah.
And they started swinging and banging around. And Brian Murphy, in his infinite wisdom, pops out of nowhere and says, "Sorry about the Jew thing, Fred." And then I was like, "What are you doing, dude?"
Well, we had the major problem with skins in different levels. Would they? Oh wait a minute, there was a bunch of them in Mira Mesa, weren't
There's a
there?
lot of skins.
Yeah.
They're always showing up to parties.
But then, of course, you got the whole Palais crowd,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
Yep.
there was a bit in Penasquitos. When I was still skating the mall, so this would be like 83, 80, it might have been 82. I remember I was skating in front of the bowling alley, as always, and a couple black guys come up to me, and I could tell they were kind of like a little edgier, for lack of better terms. They were officially, and I'm trying to remember my emotions about it, but I do remember they were saying that I can't talk to them like that anymore because now they're junior playboys. So they're the young ones in the Playboy gang that was out of Mira Mesa or whatever. And then they were telling me that there was Yellow Jackets that were the Penasquitos gang, and there was the Herbalists, which I guess was the Mexican gang. And I remember just being completely dumbfounded of like, okay, so I guess this changes the dynamic. So I am just, I kind of lost some friends because they were going to gangs, and I was a redhead. Wasn't really, I was into punk rock, but I had longer hair, and I rode a skateboard. I was, typical Mira Mesa idiot.
I don't remember a lot. I mean, I remember gangs like at the high school, kind of like pseudo
I
gangs.
do remember
but,
that Playboy gang.
Do you?
Okay.
I remember.
It seemed like they kind of phased out.
They phased out probably after Colors came out. Because then everybody became like a Crip or a Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
After Colors came
Yeah.
out, everybody decided it was weird.
I just always assumed that everyone was in a fake gang.
And it was they were
Yeah.
fake games.
I never took
Except for
it that
maybe
serious.
AC
Well,
Grips.
sure, but,
But
it
they
was
let me
mostly
know
like
that it was serious.
car theft and car stereo theft, like coordinated crime, not like we're in a gang.
Not like turf war.
Yeah. I don't recall that from memory.
I wanted to be in Cindo Mob because
Cindo Mob.
this was a dope ass name, dude.
There was a guy in my
Cindo.
class that wrote Cindo on his notebook. Remember him? And I was like,
You know, Sandburg Elementary has that park that goes down, big park, and for a long time before they even developed that, it was just like most of Mira Mesa, a rocky set of plateaus. I remember, oh God, so this is before the park, so I must have been, again, probably 14-ish, maybe even soon, it might have been like 13 or 12, but I remember hearing that area, that plateau there, back when Sandburg, I think, was probably still just bungalows. Maybe some of the newer buildings were being built, but that's where the gangs would meet, and they weren't like gangs per se by name. But the thing was, I heard people would have switchblades and like a bike chain.
it's like the
And
Jets and the
just-
Sharks.
You better stay away. You're too young. I'm like. So later, as it got developed, and then they put those concrete benches up there, that would be a place, we'd go and smoke weed, and maybe every now and again we'd go fishing and have like 6-pack of Lowenbrows or Bartles and James, and just sit there and then, wait for the cops, because then it made it fun, because then you could throw and break a bottle, scream a circle trick lyric, and go running opposite direction of the cops to right where they were also coming. Running from cops all the time is so much fun. But I never took it serious, like we're gonna get shot or we're gonna get beat up. But then later, as I started getting older and older, then it started to become a little bit more serious. And then that's when the skinheads started ruining all the fucking shows. And I started noticing kind of the sects where they were coming from, like, well, Pali always had its own thing.
Yeah.
I guess there's a few in Penasquitas, and then you're bringing up the jewelry company. I'm thinking of JD and Industrial Strength. Where was he? Oceanside?
I thought he was like in Carlsbad or something, wasn't he?
Close.
Was it Carlsbad? It's somewhere up north, but that was like the North County scene. Escondido. Oh, he was in Escondido for a while. Escondido kind of had their own scene, but we had the problem at the club with the skinheads.
I remember that Bad Religion show was wild with Nazis.
Is that
I think it was at Soma.
I remember the queer show. There was a ton of Nazis there.
really?
No, seems like an odd show.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always thought
I was like, why are these guys here? Like
I recall my younger brother and Jim Hughes, who were in Underbite, were in this like anti-skinhead movement,
Sure.
and you, I think, had like to have words with them, saying you guys got to stop coming to shows and trying to beat skinheads up. Do you recall this at all?
It totally sounds like something I would have done. Yeah. You know what? I think I do. Because they were going to get themselves killed, if I remember correctly.
They were wild kids, those two.
Yeah. Them. Yeah, I think I do. I had to have a few lectures in the back because I kind of seen the way that the club was going. From, I also grew up there.
You know that we like looked up to you, like you were like a punk rock father figure, and I know personally that I was always wanting to impress you. It's like, oh, Jeremy thinks we're cool. That was like a goal of mine. It seems really silly in retrospect, but that was a thing. And so I recall this incident with my little brother, and I remember pulling him aside and we were like, come on, man, just knock your shit off, man. We gotta stay cool. How else are we gonna continue to play shows at this venue if you don't get your shit together?
Yeah.
So that's why that probably stuck in my brain. I don't recall too much skinhead history from our youth, but I was probably so self-involved that I just remember the things that had to do with whatever was my progress.
Yeah.
And so in this conversation, my brain goes there.
It came in waves, and by the time we were at Metro, it wasn't as bad. But so real quick, Justin, shout out. He's actually tour. He was in Prague yesterday. I don't remember where he is today. But he was in a band called Struggle, and I was managing quotes. Struggle, Short-Lived, Missing Children, Psychic Dykes, and it was in Ramona. I still have it in my books too. So I had Short-Lived and Struggle playing, and I think they're playing with Missing Children. And it was in Ramona in a garage. Well, unbeknownst to me, because I never really took any gang seriously, none of them, I lived in Santee. I was a punker in Santee. That was weird enough. And I rode a skateboard. And I was, by that point, by the time I was doing this, I was probably a mere year and a half or so sober off of meth. And, because I had it real bad when I was on it. I mean, real bad. But I didn't drink or anything back then. I didn't even smoke pot because fucking hippies and Jerry Garcia and all that. I was fully straight. So all I was doing was music. And this is way before the club, or a little bit before the club. I was working on a compilation tape that was going to be local bands. Deadbolt, Cowpunks were some other bands that I was working with to put on it. I booked this show in Ramona. There ends up being all these skins there. Now, Struggle's a straight edge band. I mean, like full hardcore straight edge band. Really, really good band. And Short-Lived is, do you guys remember Short-Lived?
I don't. That sounds
They're-
familiar. It does sound familiar to me.
They think of like Down by Law, Bad Religion, that sort of genre of music and all that, for lack of better terms. They were playing, and Missing Children, I think, were a little bit more aggressive punk, but Short-Lived and Struggle, we were all of us were friends. As a matter of fact, they've all kind of intertwined in bands. That's why I'm stoked that I'm actually playing with Sam and Jeff, because I never was in a band with all these guys that I grew up with in my 20s. Well, the skinhead was such a problem there, and then a bit of meth was kind of going around, a lot of weed, of course, a lot of alcohol, and I kind of learned really quick to not only as a quote-unquote manager to kind of, be with the bands, and I have to be semi-sober, which is funny that I never was, but I had to kind of watch out for everyone and make sure they weren't mixing with, the wrong people. All that knowledge came with me as I got into Soma. So I would cling on to the people that I thought had potential, and I would do anything and everything I could to help bring them up and to, mentor. But I always found it weird that anyone respected me and played for me as much as they did. Anytime that someone be like, "Oh yeah, we thanked you in the record."
That's a crazy thing that people used to do, have the thank you section.
Yeah,
and it was so
2
important.
page
Yeah.
But
list of
I mean, I also got that sense that you were looking out for us. So you knew that we were drinking in our cars in the back parking lot. We would say hey, just don't leave your trash on the ground outside your car. Take it with you, and don't get too crazy. Make sure you can at least still perform.
Yeah.
Don't get wasted. Don't be an idiot.
Trying to help everyone, but realistically, if it wasn't for all you guys, I wouldn't have. Well, that's when I left. Is I couldn't handle the raves anymore. A lot of bands started just, because they started making some money, started to get some egos, And still to this day, I don't like that. You act like a rock star, and yeah.
We eventually got banned from playing there. It was never official, but when Len's wife Erin was doing the booking at some point,
Oh, okay.
and
Yeah.
I called their house at like 2 in the morning and left a voicemail saying that she had messed up on the booking of a show because we weren't on it. And I was like, I noticed this ad came out in the reader, and you obviously made a mistake. There was supposed to be support for this show, and then never. Well, I played there again later in another band. They didn't know that I played in that other band.
Is that spell Toronto that you called?
Yeah,
That's funny.
we never played there after that.
That's funny because I was trying to book Black Widow. This was, oh God, just a few months ago, probably 6-7 months ago. No, it was longer than that actually, because it's been a while since I've been in it. But I looked up Soma booking, and so I was just trying to be like everyone normal. I sent a link to, we had just put out a song, and we were recording, well, we were supposed to record an album, but we had like more than enough for a full set. We could do a headline set with a few covers, but we had enough material. We had a killer song, just put out the video, and so I looked up Soma booking, and I sent an email and just kind of explained, you know, hey, I'm in this, I'm blah blah blah. Didn't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, really push the issue of who I was, but I have this band, just looking for an opening slot, small stage. Tried to be as humble as possible. Here's a link to the video. I don't hear back, and I sent another one saying, hey, look, I don't want to have to, I probably use better words, but something about go over your head, and if I have to talk to Len, then I will. I know how this goes, and I kind of laid into it a little bit. And then so Jerry, the co-host on the Union and Metro podcast, he tells me, you know, that's Len's wife. And first thing I thought of was, oh, he's fucking still married? God, what? And then it started to, oh, so it finally bit me in the ass. And I told Len years ago, I go, you couldn't fucking afford me, because he asked me about coming back. I said, you couldn't fucking afford me. And between us and the world, it's obvious now, I don't have a good relationship with him. He's a piece of shit, realistically. So when I found out it was his wife, I'm like, oh, no wonder why. So now I'm back in both their heads, because I'm trying to fucking book my band it's nothing like, you know, when I was there. Because I had free reign, basically. He just kind of let me do my own thing, but then when they got more involved and there was more raves, then, you know, everyone started blowing up and everyone was making money. Everyone became a rock star, and then I was that fucking angry guy in the back. And so as I started to put all this together, I'm just like, oh, fuck it, I guess I'm not gonna play there. And I just wanted to slide in and see if I could just show up as a band member, and I don't dress like I used to on stage now, and I dress up to look like a mortician, basically. So I figured I could just slide in, play the show. They wouldn't really know, because I don't sing that many songs in that band. Just playing the bass, and I could do my makeup, so you wouldn't even really, like, it'd be easy breezy. I just want to play the place, you know, put a period at the end of that sentence. Instead, it's more like an old school bomb, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to play there now. And if last time I did go there, we were shooting another video, the last video that I did with Morningstar. I went right after the video shoot to the club. I was trying to get information on some big band. I don't remember what they're called, but it's some band I hadn't heard of. My daughter was asking about them and wanted wanted some information. So I show up there, and I'm talking to Erin, the ticket girl, and I got my makeup's all running, and it's all, when I got home and I looked what it actually looked like, because we were doing a seance video, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sitting there talking to her, like, not Erin, what's her name? The ticket girl, Christina, or Christine, not Erin. So I'm talking to her, and I realized once I got home how fucked up I looked. And I explained, hey, we're just shooting a video, but I'm like, they just think I'm a train wreck at this point. And, because she knows who I am, but the security didn't really know, and she usually stops people if I sign up for whatever reason, which I've done a couple times. She's, really nice to me, which I'm not used to either. I'm always expecting Len to come up and yell at me, tell me to get the fuck off the property. It's something rude, but I don't know. So, out of skinheads, it goes into my rant about not being able to.
That's a major falling out. You were there for a long time.
Yeah. But realistically, I needed to leave. I wasn't making shit there. There was times I went home out of money because I'd pay the cleanup crew. Len he spread more rumors than a freaking porn star spreads in a film. There was so much, I was hearing shit about myself that was really kind of like, come on dude, you're a fucking grown man, get over it. You own the club. You're not me. So, but I don't know. It is what it is. So I'll never play there. And it's hard to even figure out where to play now anyways, because I don't really want to play all the bars. And I've only played the Casbah once, and now I'm amazed I even was able to do that, but...
Did you guys play the Casbah?
No, they didn't like us. They didn't like us. We played the Velvet.
Yeah, we played the Velvet. Remember that?
The Crowbar?
Yeah.
Crowbar, yeah. Crowbar, Velvet, Soul Kitchen.
Pounders.
Escondido. Yeah. Pounders.
Still there. Do they work around the
Still
corner?
there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Soul Kitchen was cool though.
Soul Kitchen was cool.
I liked that place. And then remember when Izod had, what was it called? Down here at the World Beach Center. Izod had opened up that other place. He had two of them, one up in Orange County or somewhere.
Oh, the Showcase Theater.
Yeah.
We played there.
there once.
Yeah, we played the show
Yeah,
there.
twice.
Yeah.
But I like the Soul Kitchen, and then there's another place up
Shake
in...
Cafe, we used to play.
Yeah. They're still doing shows,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind playing there. I've seen Dale from the Melvins doing a solo project there. I think that was the last show. But that was the hardcore scene, like Swing Kids, Unbroken, all those types of bands used to play up at the Che, a lot Shea or...
I feel like when we went to the Shea, it was always like 3 Mile Pilot and like...
Yeah,
those
3 Mile
bands,
Pilot.
Yeah, when you were talking about Mara Mesa bands earlier, because I was trying to think of Mara Mesa bands, I had forgotten about the Neighbors and how important that was as like a thing. So then you bring up 3 Mile Pilot, I'm like, oh shit, that was an enormous part of my childhood. Were there any other Mara Mesa bands? That we only know what we went to school with.
Yeah.
We were talking about, I think there 5 or 6, there's actually, I do remember there was more, but like my time frame, when I was a kid, like still in high school, I don't think there's really any band. I know Battalion of Saints was around. The Zeros might have still been playing. Yeah, there wasn't too much. And then by the time I got out of high school, because I didn't really get serious, I took guitar class when I was in 11th grade. And the music stand, I have the scar right here. I was standing below it and I was trying to pull it up and it dinked me, so the teacher sent me home. I get home and my mom's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I can freaking cut." She goes, "Put a Band-Aid on it and go back to school." So I put a Band-Aid on it and I took it off, and I had a nice line. It went all the way across the bridge of my nose, and people made fun of me at school, but I got a D in that class. So that's when I figured I was just going to become a vocalist. And by '86, I had moved out to Santee. By '88, I think it was 87 or '88 is when I was working at Wiener Schnitzel. And that's when I met the guys in Short Lived, and then they ended up forming, and that's basically where everything came out of there, was the Wiener Schnitzel in Santee, which no longer exists, but the building's still there. And then back then Gamma Gamma was around, and that's how it all started. Ray was in Short Lived working Gamma Gamma. Lynn was looking for artists. He brought me up. I brought up that I could book some bands. And again, I was trying to be a vocalist, and I kind of messed around on the bass a little bit because I knew guitar was not going to work for me, because I got the D. And yeah, by late '89, I was booking shows at Soma, and the whole thing blew up. But by that time, so bands like Fishwife would have been around. Let me think. Oh God, I can't remember. There was a few metal bands like Psychotic Waltz. They were called Aslan back then.
Yeah.
Skin Marks.
It sounds familiar. We were talking about because
Santa Claus was in that
Dave,
one.
Santa Claus.
did your
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
podcast talked about his first show, and that was a big thing for us as kids.
Yeah.
Was the band names, because they were, some of them, so ridiculous.
Oh,
that
yeah.
it made it so hard to come up with a band
With
name.
the band name.
That's why I thought DrKlahn was so brilliant, because
We were,
I've
just
seen
make,
the
we, were,
movie.
we were making fun of having a band name. We're like, let's just make it the longest thing possible.
and now there's bands like, and what's that one? And then We'll Find Us by Our Trail of Blood.
Yeah, Trail of Dead.
They have the freaking novel that they have to, bring down to. Yeah.
Do you recall when I made fake flyers for some? I confessed this to you years after doing it, but when we were in high school, I was in the print and graphic design class, and so the Soma flyer was very specific.
Oh yeah.
And we would joke on a regular basis about, I'm not, making fun of these band names, but Laceration really stood out to us. And so we would just sit around and try to cook up what we thought were ridiculous band names. And so I made a fake flyer that we passed around our school. I printed hundreds of them. And the headliner was Mama's Llamas, Mealworm, the Bloodthirsty Leopards, and Evil Skull.
Yeah.
And we'd made Evil Skull t-shirts as a fake band in high school. And
Oh, that's so brilliant.
I asked you at some point, after we'd been playing the club for years, I was like, do you ever recall people showing up for a show that didn't exist? And I think you said yes. And it was a very proud moment that I had achieved my goal.
I do
Mealworm was
recall
my favorite.
something at some point of people coming up looking for a certain show.
I think it was
There's
a
no-
raid night
there's
that
no
we-
internet,
that we
so-
did for.
Oh, you know what? That sounds really familiar. Because those rave nights, I was wound up very, God, I hated those fucking things. I still, whenever I hear boots and pants, I start shaking. Cause those people were just, they would smell like a lot of them would smell like baby powder, and just so far gone on drugs. And everyone else seemed to have a great time. Everyone had their own kind of, there was a few schemes going on. People, security, employees taking kickbacks. I heard through the rumor mill that security was taking drugs, and then they would resell them. So there was all sorts of nefarious. So anything coming up with anyone talking to me about actual music and not drugs and monotonous music would have been the highlight of any rave. So I'm sure I would have found that.
Somebody came to see Mealworm.
I still like Mealworm as a name.
Do you recall us making fortune cookies?
Oh yeah.
That was the best.
Did we do that at your mom's house?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Such a ridiculous thing that
Running them out
in order to achieve your goals of we brought X amount of people to this show, they have to say your name at the door, and we were always trying to come up with what's the best way to convince people.
Yeah.
We made fortune cookies that said please say always it was both bands
Yeah,
too.
it was always
Please
both
say
bands.
Funkapotamus and DrKlahn at the door, and we would approach it like a was the Beastie Boys
Together
and,
Forever.
Run
Yeah.
DMC
Yeah.
Together Forever tour.
Yeah, it was a Together Forever tour.
It made more sense to get the two, because if, like, again, logically, coming from a promoter standpoint, to split the two bands up, you're splitting up the crowd because you're either gonna come to see the show, but then if the phone rings and like, hey, we got this party, well, we want to play. In my head, I'm thinking they're going to be like, we want to play, so we'll go, and then it gets all split up. But if I get all you guys together, then I get all the crowd together, because my whole thing was to have these shows as much fun as possible. That's the exact same reason why I wouldn't book certain bands. And I refused I refused Jewel, because I'm like, I don't think there's enough air going through the building to not only get rid of all the patchouli, I don't think we can fill up the dressing room with enough people. Unbeknownst to me, she ended up being huge, and we probably could have aired out the patchouli over a few days. So it was my bad, but I always tried to find shows that would be fun. So
It
package
doesn't seem like a
deals.
standing room only kind of audience, though.
What's that?
Jewel doesn't seem like a standing room only.
Yeah, no,
audience.
I would, because I was kind of paying attention to everything that was going on, and, the coffee shop was doing, especially the one in OB, that was doing really well there. I would go with Silas, which was the door guy for a while. Down at Metro, he had the Cane, or not Metro, Union. And he and I are good buds. It happened for years. But we would go flyering and whatever, for whatever reason that we could actually go out, because I was always booked every weekend. But whenever we could go out, and say we're in the OB for whatever reason, I lived there for a long time too. Just going by whatever that coffee shop was next to, what is that? Not Dream Street, Winston's. That place would be packed, and they're outside smoking their cigarettes and having their little coffee, and it just smells like patchouli and hippies, and I'm like, I can't, it's not really so much a punk rock club, but I can't see filling up the side room with a Jewel show. And then I did take a chance once with, I think they were called Drive.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were older. They were actually older than me, which was weird for me to book, and they were more like a college type band. I remember, if that's the band I'm thinking of, they did really well once.
Yeah.
Other people showed up, and then I booked them again, and it was hard to book them because of trying to find the right bands. And it completely flopped. It was the other one that flopped really bad that I remember distinctly is Goldfinger.
Really?
When I booked him, and John, I think that's the guy's name, the main guy, is yelling at me. He's like, where's Len? Where's Len? I go, he's at home. Or, fuck it, I know, it was during the Christmas break when I would book all those shows up until the New Year's. And so I had booked him, and he wanted the dressing room and this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, dude, I remember telling him straight, I booked you as a favor to Len. So you don't have a dressing room. If you want to get your frickin' beer, you can go, and I told him to go in the one that everyone used, because I knew I was going to be getting a call from Len, or a page from Len, and I would have to call him, because I don't think we even had cell phones then, or he did. But and they had nobody there, like literally nobody. So I don't even know how they got paid, but I'm sure Len figured out something and gave them like gas money. But yeah, some of those shows is trying to find the right people and the right crowds, and then to not have that element of whatever random skinheads would come in. It got tricky at times. So you guys were always a blast, and the crowds were always great, always respectful. It just made it fun. Plus, I like the music, you know. And Fred, you were always just such a maniac. Just seeing you show up, it's like, okay. It is, your personality always was just so. I remember that distinctly. And then the name. So whenever I said Funkapotamus, I always thought of you right away.
Yeah, natural showman.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there was that show we did at the Side Stage. It was like us, you guys, of course, the neighbors, like Time. I think everybody was all mermaids. Yeah. And then you wore that mermaid like baseball jersey. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, I remember specifically got you going by just saying, what was that bit? It goes, you know, Jeremy, I went bowling the other day, and it was really not that bad.
Now I want to go bowling. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
I want to record that Funkapotamus album now.
No shit.
We can we can find a drummer.
I know people. The Ishmael lives in Michigan, though.
Yeah. And you live in Rhode Island.
I would fly out to record the album, but we still have to. I have to find those songs on tape. Do you have any of those songs on tape?
Stop.
Mel might have them.
Oh yeah.
Mel, maybe. What are you doing, buddy?
They're just unusable, but we could still get the riffs from them.
Yeah.
Because that's what I don't. I mean, I have like sleeves. I have that riff like playing in my head
That's
since you started talking about the failed attempt at recording that.
yeah. Some good stuff.
Yeah,
Some good stuff.
it's really sad it never got brought to light.
Yeah.
It was a fun, goofy project. And I
So
wasn't.
you didn't put out anything at all?
They
Wasn't
put
there a
out.
tape at
They put
least?
out a full tape with
We
Sean.
put out a full tape. We recorded at Ninth Ring.
Ninth Ring.
We recorded at Ninth Ring Studios. Sounded okay, but we didn't have enough money to do the mixing. So we just kind of left out in the air. We have a rough mix of that. I have a CD of of that recording at Ninth Ring.
Did you record anything with Frank play guitar?
No. We had Frank from the
The
Neighbors
Neighbors.
play with us for a while with John. I thought that was there was a really good live. That was a good live show with those two. It
Yeah.
was really good. He played Sean's songs really well, but then there were some songs he just couldn't play. And Frank is like a master guitarist, and yet he still couldn't do some of Sean's songs.
There's something about Sean's approach to guitar that can't be duplicated.
Yeah.
It's just he is the master of being Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure that out. I want to try. Like, I don't know how that guy could move his wrist so sloppily perfect. Like, his strumming patterns were just wacky, but perfect. It was, I don't know. I have a Funkapotamus tattoo. I think I got it before I even played in the band.
Oh wow.
I was a diehard fan.
It's the #1 fan.
Yeah, you were the #1 fan.
Do you think if you went into the studio, like it would just all come back, or?
I think we could.
I
I mean,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
with Chaj playing bass, Fred
Yeah.
vocals, and then just anybody who could just play the guitar and drums would be doable. Obviously, it won't ever be the same as Sean, but
Well, Sean's in Germany, I think. But yeah, I think with Jason it would
Okay.
definitely work.
Throw the bug on him. Send them messages, say, hey.
It'll be a lot of fun. Your ability to, because you were mostly into hip hop when you got into this band. I think the Dead Kennedys was probably like the biggest like punk influence.
Well, I think that I was such a rap fanatic, but around like 92, 93, I kind of saw the handwriting on the wall that this is getting lame, especially when all the white boys started listening
like
to
Chili
it.
Peppers start acting
But
a little
then-
too funky.
I started to get into like, and then I heard like Screeching Weasel from like Mark Prosy. Like, it's like, oh, this is like really kind of cool. And then for some reason, Sonic Youth spoke to me. I don't know why. Sonic Youth
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just spoke to me.
Yeah.
You saw them at Soma.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I kind of like forced myself on Sean and Ishmael, like, to be the singer.
But lyrically, you had a lot of hip hop influence.
Absolutely.
You would
Oh,
make pop culture references to prove a point. Like you
Yeah.
do those kind of lyrics.
yeah.
Well, very Beastie Boys. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I'm insane like Conrad Bain.
Yes, Conrad Bain.
like the best lyric ever.
Well, then that's what helped you with lyrically to, just be able to be Johnny on the spot.
Yeah. Well, that's what I used to do. I used to go to those parties. Brian Ordway would beatbox, and then I just rap over the keg.
Mhm.
And that was like kind of like do a crowd. It was like a freestyle at a party or whatever. And then when I saw that, Sean and Ish and Jim Warbeck, rest in peace, was doing a band. They did Kenyatta,
Yeah.
the Kenyatta song, and then I just really literally I forced myself on them. Like I'm singing in your band now.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. This is how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. But that's the best way. Just like, okay, I gotta do this.
yeah,
Because I've been on the other side of trying to coach someone and stroke their ego to get their confidence enough to continue. Mainly because lack of anyone else, wanting to keep pursuing things. And that never goes anywhere quick. I've had bands where, since in 77, when I started that, I told Stoney, I brought him in first. He was from Diablo 44. Remember those guys? So I brought him in, and I said, I want it to be like New York style, 77. I said I didn't want to do, I wanted to play clean bass, and I was playing a PV, an old PV at that point, and I didn't want to sing in this. I just wanted to be the bass player. I just wanted to kind of be in my little corner and do my thing. And we went through, we did a karaoke bar, and we had a girl try out there, which she was from England, I believe, and it sounded pretty good, and we're like, this might work. We had Monica from Dodgeball try out, and like, yeah, this might work. And then we had Stoney's girlfriend Candy, which was in some other band doing backup vocals. She ended up being the one, because Stoney as well didn't want to sing. He just wanted to play guitar. And it turned out to be a rad band, but then I had to leave because I had issues with the drummer, and I was trying to get sober, and I wasn't at Soma anymore, and he tried to get me into computers. And still to this day, I have a hard time with remotes, the phone, computers. I'm not a computer guy. He's like, oh, you should get into computer. He wanted me to work with him, basically. And I couldn't do it, so I ended up leaving the band. But, oh well. And then I've had I think the next one after that, I basically had to convince people. I've had to do this, actually, I think about it. I've had to do this a few times. Tried to get my little brother years ago to learn the drums. His dad, he was my half brother, got him drums. I tried to teach him how to play drums, and that's how I learned to slow down my pace and do more like sludge stuff. And my buddy Will, who was our light guy, tried to teach him how to play guitar just so I could have someone to play with. It was just horrible. And it zaps all the energy when I'm like, fuck, I got all these songs that I want to do, but I have no one to play with. And then we went through that with Morningstar. We were trying to find a drummer for a while. We tried a few people and just no one, we couldn't get anyone. Even now, it's with everyone getting older, it's a matter of either having the time because, you know, they're running a business or whatever. They still have kids, or there's always some excuse. It's hard when, you know, we get older, but luckily I've finally reached that age where I plateaued. All the good years are behind me, so I'm able to have more fun. But yeah, it's hard getting a band. So if you find people that are doing it and you force it in, fuck it. And that's why I was doing so many bands for a while too. But I don't know, I have to do something artistically all the time. All the time. How do you do? The book,
Yeah, just writing a lot. Yeah,
you know?
it's probably the same.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably the same idea, you know, it's like not playing in a band, but for years, but I can kind of relive my youth through that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. I'm excited. So we gotta file. I gotta find a publisher, and then
Are you gonna
Yeah.
still look for a poster? Or are you
I
gonna do
think
it yourself?
so. I don't know. I'm kind of Jess thinks I should just self-publish it, but yeah, but we'll see. So I gotta go through all the edits and clean it up, and then see what the next step is. But
What about photos and flyers and all that? Are you gonna add that
Yeah.
in, or?
yeah, I've got a bunch. I brought some actually, if you want. But yeah, I want to put photos in it and flyers and like all the old shows and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
but
That was
But,
some of the most fun was
yeah,
making
making
the
flyers.
flyers.
Yes.
we made this one.
Yes, we did. We did that. Absolutely. That's the
But,
first show.
Oh, that's not the first show.
I
That's
thought that was the first show.
the main stage.
Oh,
The
the
first
first
main
main
stage?
stage show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we were surprised that you let us do that.
I know, right?
That's so
But yeah,
crazy.
yeah, I want to put photos and flyers in it, and to kind of thicken it up too, like make it more.
Yeah, that's.
So.
We would appreciate it.
Oh, Nugget.
Nugget, that does sound familiar.
Mike's
Nugget
crack.
was, yeah, Mike Hathaway, remember from the music store?
Oh, yes,
That's
I
his
do.
band.
I do. I didn't know his last name. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember his last name because I was thinking about him recently because of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes we'd mail it in. Sometimes we'd really.
I know, so
whatever.
always the Curious George, like
What was the place that was open 24 hours?
Kinko's.
Kinko's, yeah.
Oh, we spent so much time
We
at
spent
the
a lot of time
Kinko's
at Kinko's.
on Poway Road and
Yeah.
Community. That's
Yeah,
it?
the Poway one?
Ones
Yeah,
around
for
there.
sure, yeah.
Steve Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Oh, and then there was that music trader
oh, that's
Yeah.
cute.
up in Poway.
Yeah.
Actually, that was that Pirate Pete's store?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because the store that I worked at, where we all worked for the body joy company, Dennis, he had a store Fred and I worked at. It was across the street from Music Trader.
Oh, okay.
Fred used to go over there and be like, I'm gonna borrow these CDs.
Yeah.
And he'd come back with like the Clash, like the whole discography of the Clash. I'm like, where'd you get this? He's like, oh, Music Trader. They'd just be like in our shop, like we'd never bring them back.
This is a crazy lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so crazy looking at those.
We played with Slightly Stupid. Oh,
Yeah.
before they were a reggae band.
Yeah.
They
I think
were
that was one of
kinda
our first shows, was Slightly Stupid.
Kind of metal.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Adam had his double bass kick. Bass kick? Bass, double
No,
kick.
making a Goldfinger. There's the
And,
fire in the background.
Oh, how funny. Oh, that was a better show though.
Whoa, we played with NIV. Built to last. This is like a hardcore show. Oh,
I know.
Carter Peace Mission.
Yeah. Peace
Oh.
mission.
Don't get you started.
Yeah, and then
Stories.
this color of gray that was on our walls.
Yeah.
I couldn't look at that color for years.
Yeah, there's one in there where we played a POD, and I don't remember that at all. Like,
I do
Yeah,
do?
he's-
at some point.
Wasn't like that? A total.
But where's Turkey Mallet? How come there's
Oh,
not
yeah,
Turkey
Turkey Mallet,
in
Turkey
here?
Mallet, Agent GDC.
Agent
GDC.
Oh, yeah.
I just, I was looking through 7-inch records the other day and I found my Asian GDC record.
yeah. Remember they did that
I had
Quintina
that.
song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
they
Get-
were
the
good.
Get
man.
Down
They were a
Clowns?
good band.
Yeah, Clowns, yeah. Yeah, Jessica, my wife, was dating the singer.
Oh,
I didn't know, like, when we were played at that show. It was like
that's so cool that you have those.
yeah.
Yeah, putting those in the book will.
Yeah, so that's the idea, is a lot of the photos and books, or photos and...
I'm assuming I made this flyer.
Oh, for sure. It's got the Eddie on the top. Yeah, to thicken it up a little bit. Yeah, the nobodies were cool. I remember we liked those guys.
Oh, the Nobodies.
Oh, Ever Ready, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobodies were great.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, played some cool shows, I feel like.
It's crazy how many that you actually did play.
Yeah.
You know, looking at all these flyers.
I know.
Yeah, get a phone call at your home landline.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys want to play a show at the with these band on this day? And then like it changes your mood for the day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're gonna go.
Then you say yes, then you gotta go around and ask everybody who could make sure.
Oh, I remember
everybody
the first
play.
call I thought it was a prank call.
Oh, really?
So you were like, well, I just got your tape, sounds really good. What do you think about playing it? I was like, dude, whatever. Like, you know, I didn't. And then he's like, well, if you don't want to fucking play, then don't. And then he called right back. I go, dude, I just thought it was a prank call.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
back then it was so funny because my mom, one of the few memories I have from so many calls. I used to be so good on the phone. I used to, be with Johnny on the spot thinking, and it was because it's like being a salesman. So my mom just brought this up years ago. I would call her for whatever reason, and I would be like, "Hey, this is Jerm from Soma." And her reaction would be something along the lines like, "I know, you're my son." I mean, oh yeah, mom, sorry, whatever. And I guess I'd done that a few times. But yeah, back then, I remember I was always, on Christmas, a few times we would go to, in University City, there was one of the hotels there had a big Christmas buffet. And I remember a couple of times being there and I'd have my pager on me and I always have a pocket full of change. So every time, without fail, on Christmas dinner, I would have at least a call or two that I would have to deal with during Christmas dinner. My family's just like, yeah, whatever. But, I didn't really look too Christmassy. I don't like Christmas anyway. So, and my family, I'm the oldest out of all the kids, so I'm in whatever plaid and a band shirt, my creepers and whatever color hair.
Plaid,
and a nice,
bondage pants.
yeah, in a fancy hotel restaurant. And where's your phone? Probably reeking of beer because I didn't really eat much then. So I'm walking around with my pager. I get to the phone. I'm sitting there, booking shows or talking whatever. Because there'd be times where people will call up and say, "Oh, we can't play. So and so's sick." So then I'd have to come up with like some way to keep them showing up. Have some people show up. Maybe get another band to play on short notice. But trying to keep the whole machine going, because any little bump in the road, it wasn't just me. I would have Len come down on me, and I didn't like that much. I didn't like being told what to do. Still, being like a rebel, and he did give me a lot of free reign, but I had to, kind of stick within, certain guidelines, or else, we wouldn't be able to keep doing what we did, because there was times where there was hardly anyone that would show up to a show. It would be a bummer, but, it's just the way it is. But if it was my fault, ooh, that would not be good. And I'd probably drink a lot that night and just be bummed and pissed. And then whoever showed up the next day. But usually, like if it was a big touring show that would come through, and I would have to be there at noon, open it up, and then let the crew come in and the sound. And I wouldn't have to talk to anyone, so I could just like slowly sober up by the time people started showing up, or if the local bands, if there were, by then hopefully I would not be that angry. But yeah, times it started, it got kind of rough.
I feel like we were there a lot. Like if we weren't playing there, we would go to see bands play there. Like there was like not a lot to do. Like
It was every Friday,
night,
Saturday.
let's go. If there wasn't a party or something, we'd always
I think that's probably where my addiction to special treatment began, because I don't like going to shows anymore. It's like I don't want to go if I have to stand in the crowd for some reason. Just after just years of touring, it's not fun. But I've gone to shows, and friends are like, "You don't want to be backstage because everyone's on in-ears now, and so you can't even hear music backstage. So
Yeah.
the fun is lost." But yeah, I definitely think that, I don't know, having that relationship with you early on, you would oftentimes, we would go to shows, and I think that you would let us in through the back, and we could watch a show that we wanted to see and feel like we were cool or part of a scene, and that made us feel like somebody's.
There wasn't many people that I was actually that cordial with, in hindsight now, which was the reason why I said to Dave that I wanted to sit and chat with you guys, because it'd been, God, how long has it been?
easily 25
30
years,
yeah.
longer, yeah.
So, but those were fond memories. It's anytime that there was something there to kind of keep it lively and feeling like a party, but organized. I miss it, and that's what at the end for me I wasn't having anymore, because like I said, there's so many attitudes and just chaos, and the wheels were falling off, and it just wasn't fun anymore. So luckily I did leave, because 7-Eleven needed me.
In Mermesa, right?
And I worked at two of them, but that, and everything that I learned from there is, after that, when I left, my plan was, and I did go to Mesa because I was going to go to school, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get back into landscaping and doing gardening and all that. So I figured I would go to school, and a couple times trying to go through the process there, I'm like, I don't fit in here. I'm like, I was older than pretty much everyone there. Some people knew who I was. Some people were looking at me a little weird. I had no safety net. I wasn't backstage with my stool. I wasn't like going into a record store and I had to say hey to a couple people that I knew. There was so many people, and I didn't know anybody, and I didn't do well in high school or any school, so it was just a bad decision. So after leaving that, it ended up doing 7-Eleven. Did that for 3 years. Then I started doing waterfalls and trying to build a business with that, and then I was doing handyman work, and then I did high-end tile for a few years, and I'm back to what I was doing when I was 18, which is pushing a mower, and I'll do some hardscaping every now and again, but I didn't know what the hell I was gonna do. It was kind of scary, to be honest.
What year was that you left?
97.
Okay.
And it was, let me think. So when I turned 30, I was still living in OB. I remember the Misfits. I think it was, I'm trying to remember like what part of the year I left. It might have been the beginning because when I was, or was I turning 40? No, I believe I was turning 30. The Misfits were playing Soma, and Jerry, my co-host with the other podcast, I talked to him and my girlfriend at the time, and they were supposed to bring over Doyle and Jerry only, and we're gonna celebrate my birthday afterwards. I don't think anyone came over. As a matter of fact, I think my girlfriend at the time went out with her other boyfriend or something and didn't get in till late. I'm pretty sure that was the year that I sat by myself and just got wasted, just waiting on, you know, I didn't really care about Michael Grace coming over because it wasn't Danzig, you know, and he's, well, you know. But I was stoked on Jerry and Doyle, and they never came, fucking bastards. But on a good note,
Yeah.
Because I know we've had this conversation. We don't like the Misfits. Like you're not a fan of the Misfits, right?
They've got great songs,
Didn't you
but
guys play a
they're like a
Misfits
lot of
song?
Did you?
duds. But they're not my favorite.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like,
not a huge fan. I mean,
I like the hits.
I like the hits.
Whatever that Yellow album is.
Yeah,
The hits.
I love the hits.
I never dug deep. But there's
I
like 21 songs on that.
Yeah.
it was the best. I think I might actually have that one. Yeah, I never really. I mean, they were all right, but they were, to me, they kind of remind me of the Ramones. And I'm not really big on the Ramones.
see, I love
Oh, yeah, we were all big Ramones people growing up.
But I liked, well, obviously Venom. I still freaking love Venom. What was I really into? They Exploited. I like the English stuff more than anything. They Exploited, 999, Buzzcocks, PIL. PIL is actually, or Pill is actually, Johnny's more of an influence on my singing than I even realized. In Cockroach, when we did This Is Not a Love Song, that's based on a Pill song that I just fucked all up. And of course, my bandmates, Colin on the kitty litter box with the fucked up drums and cracked cymbal. I think he had one cymbal and sat on a kitty litter box and had a tom turned on its side for a kick drum. We were everything, the epitome of making fun of everything about pop music. It was brilliant. And I don't know how I sloshed through every set. It was art to the point of, is this really art? Can we really call this music? It was so rad. I miss that band. But then what was I thinking? I had a train of thought.
You were saying the good news is, and I interrupted you.
So what is it? Was Buzzcocks 999, and then on the flip side, I was like really into Neurosis. Came in when they came through. They were promoting, or they were just about to do not Enemy of the Sun. I can't remember the name of the album. He just won't stop, babe. But nonetheless, so then I got into Neurosis, and because it was like almost anti-music, but I never really liked this cheesy generic Misfits.
Yeah, I
he
love
loves
the
his
Ramones,
trains.
but the Misfits always seem like just like Kiss to me, like all the
Yeah, I never liked Kiss either.
the whole like get up.
And I like the aesthetic to a certain extent, but now it's so manufactured, and I've heard horror stories about how they are now, through the eyes of Dave Lombardo on what he's said about them, and they're not that talented at all, and I think it's Jerry. One of them just pounds the shit out of his guitar who's playing guitar? They're
Not following.
well, one of them, the guitar is so bad that I think it's them that there's someone that's backstage that they kind of keep in the back to not have the emphasis on, that's actually holding down the song. Kind of like how people nowadays, everyone's using the in-ears, so no one has hardly anything on stage. There's no stage volume, which to me is
Weird.
yeah. It's like Lemmy from Motorhead saying, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go direct through the house." No, he's louder than the house. Just him alone. Back in the day, rest in peace, Lemmy. That's another band I never really got into. I wasn't a Motorhead fan. I like the hits, but
Yeah, I could not tell you a Motorhead song.
Ace of Spades.
I guess it's
Yeah, there's probably a handful
Yeah.
that you know if you heard.
And then like We Are the Road Crew, and he did do a brilliant what is it, the Rolling Stones song, Pleased to Meet You, that song, whatever the hell that title is. Did a really good cover of it.
I'm also not very well versed in the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
Somehow that escaped me.
Yeah, I don't know any Stones.
I like them more now than I did as a kid. I remember the one album with the zipper. Someone at high school, back in it was junior high. For some reason, someone had that at school. And I remember seeing, I think it's called Sticky Fingers. And I seen it and I'm like, that's cool. But I was into punk rock. By that time, punk rock and definitely Venom, Black Flag, Ozzy, Black Sabbath. Still a huge Black Sabbath fan.
That was a constant in our garage. Just like at the age of 15, where you're like, learning things, you should start smoking pot and start taking acid. I forget which Sabbath album was like on a loop in the garage. I don't know how many crazy, just taking some acid, Sabbath or Pink Floyd is on. That's what
Oh, okay.
It's very weird that we were in a punk band because we listened to so much, Iron Maiden was probably like the beginning for me and Pat, coming out of like Michael Jackson and George Michael. But we listened to so much like Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Sabbath,
Jimi Hendrix.
It was like all classic rock. But we were also into these punk bands, but it wasn't what we listened to as like a group collectively.
Yeah.
Probably because of the drugs. That was the influence there.
The Pink Floyd and stuff.
Listening to the Ramones wasn't as fun on acid.
See, I never did acid, but the drug part.
David did not do any acid.
I don't know. It might be in the book though at the very end. No, I was never like that either. I'm trying to think. In my teenage years, back when like Ken. I'm still thinking when we're in
We
Ken.
call it Kenny.
Kenny, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Kenny.
Yeah.
Thank
Lee.
God.
Yeah.
When Kenny and Jeff and so back then it would have been Jim Napuanoa. When we were all hanging out, there's a little bit of weed going around. And back then, in those days, you would have to watch out who you got your weed from. If it smelled too much like gas, then you know that it was Mickey that came over the border. But you would have to, you can't get it from the older stoners because it might be dipped, it could be laced. And then, we all seen the movie about doing PCP and you jump out of windows.
Like a butterfly.
And since weed is a gateway drug. But yeah, we would smoke a little bit of weed, and every now and again there'd be a little bit of alcohol, but we didn't really, that wasn't our thing. It just, music was just kind of always there. But Kenny brought in, because his parents would buy him a lot of records. I think he's the first one to bring in Merciful Fate. think so. And then, but for Maiden, I remember our friend who lived, so Kenny and Clay lived on the same street. And Clay's parents were really, really religious. But somehow, Clay and his sister Corby, he had Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. And I think he's the first one to have Peace of Mind, or maybe Kenny had it. But we were huge. I still love Venom. I mean, Venom, obviously. Iron Maiden, like, big time. The older stuff. After Power Slave, I kind of dropped off from them. But the thing, when we were growing up, I saw it slowly come into place. If you were whatever style of music or whatever thing you were into, whatever clique, you weren't supposed to like certain things. Like if you liked punk rock, you could not like metal. That's why I was like, that's not really punk rock.
I recall there being some shame in the punk rock community. Like if even the Neighbors definitely had like some of their older songs where like there's a lot of metal in this,
Yeah.
and then they kind of phased those songs out over time, and it seemed like they had some metal shame there. I always thought it was fun, and maybe even funny at one point, because I played in my little brother's band Underbite for a hot second. And I kept trying to put metal solos into everything. I was like, oh no, this is
I love metal
this is cool.
Metal solos are the best.
And they were trying to be like a ska pop punk band.
Yeah.
And they started out like pretty cool. Then it got a little
They are a little too
ridiculous.
ska.
Yeah.
A little too ska.
So bringing the horns in. And,
Yeah.
Which was fun. My cousin Paul played trumpet in it,
That's
so
right.
I loved. Not that we weren't hanging out anyway, but it just gave me extra time to hang
Yeah.
out with cousin Paul.
That's cool. But was it, so there wasn't really that much shaming back then? Because it seemed like,
No, they would get mad at me for doing the metal solos.
right,
They're like,
but
come on,
you
Jason,
weren't
take it
looked down
easy.
on for,
And then I'm like, no, this is happening. And then,
you're like,
Jim.
you don't understand. I am doing this right now.
But Jim, much better guitar player than I, and he was playing guitar and singing, and he decided he didn't want to play guitar anymore because he wanted to have the freedom to just sing. And so that's where I came in. I was like, all right, but you realize what you're getting here. And we recorded also at, what was that studio? Ninth Ring?
Ninth Ring?
And he would like want to take the guitar away from me. He'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna play this part. Like, this is how this happens. But I squeezed a couple. Ridiculous. I would turn the gain up. It's so high.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so fun.
I was doing that until a couple of years ago. I started playing clean. Well, it started with the left outs, and whenever my wife and I would jam, so I started playing clean. And then I was like, I like this because I'm freed of my pedals now. I have this acceptable tone. I can be more diverse. And well, I'm back to all my pedals again. It depends on how raunchy I want it to sound. But so playing clean, it started to open up this new thing of like, oh, I can start playing this. And actually in the left outs, we wrote a song that was going to end up being a kind of a country song, which I never thought that I'd ever play, just because I opened that door of I don't have to be pigeonholed into playing like a meat grinder of a bass all the time. And that was a lot of fun. The left outs was really, for me, for a while there. I actually have all the songs that we were doing, just waiting to rehash them again. It was very stiff little fingers. And so along with that, my voice started to change to where I don't have to yell at everyone all the time, and I don't have to sound like I'm dying, so therefore everyone around me should feel the pain. And then getting more into like telling stories and being a little bit more personal. That's kind of a lane that I was riding, but now I'm having too much fun doing it. But now I actually have different bases for different things that I want to do. But just quick tangent. I thought it was playing the clean bass. I had something else I was thinking along with that, but I digress. My voice is starting to go, as you can probably tell.
I have to use the potty.
You guys want to just wrap it up? We got a couple hours here and
Yeah.
hang out for a little bit.
Yeah,
So
super fun.
let's we'll just close this out. This is the Seamless podcast that this will be on. I'll give you guys all the links, and I'm gonna get this out right away and do some video. But I'm not kicking you out of the house. We're just gonna finish the podcast for now, and I'll do the cheesy boxed outro, which we can't hear, but
I want to hear it.
doesn't hear us.
All right. Awesome.
Oh, look at these.
Yeah, yeah.